than I thought it would. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, back to the BryantChambers movement. Fellow warriors working to get it done tonight. Another impromptu live call. We're actually going to do something really exciting tonight, which is something I've never done before. At least I don't think I've done it. And that's working to host two separate YouTube live streams at the same time. So I've got my BryantChambers movement live stream going on here. I'm going to bring in my marketing gurus and YouTubers on a separate stream on my first channel, which is Clients Incoming, the name of my marketing business. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for being here. Hey, it's Luza. Hold on, the type is so small. Luzalania, hello. And please correct me if I pronounce names wrong. I try to do my best to get your names right. If I get it wrong, I am not only giving you permission, but I'm giving you the responsibility to correct me if I do. Kimberly's here. Excellent. So tonight we're going to have just kind of a grab bag Q&A. I do want to focus on why it's important for all of us to have mentors and coaches. If you've been watching me for any length of time, you know I offer all kinds of different coaching, whether it's free stuff through the YouTube channel, free stuff on Facebook, which is different, free stuff like book reviews and book lists on Instagram. Free, and then I have other programs where I do services for clients and for students that I put through my coaching programs. But you have to know that I only believe in that stuff so much because I have been the benefactor of having coaches. I have free coaches and paid coaches. You know, I'm blessed to have, one of the reasons why I do so much stuff for free is I've been blessed to just have people in my life, starting with my father. I've been blessed to have people in my life who have imparted just insane amounts of knowledge and wisdom into me completely for free, from my father to people that my father worked with, who we consider family at this point, to my mentors when I was starting my military career, all my non-commissioned officers and officers that trained, you know, the class clown. Like, the funny thing is too, one of the things I get so often here on YouTube, and I'm going to bump the chat out because I'm going to try to run both chats at the same time if YouTube will allow it. This is going to be hilarious if this doesn't work. One of the things you all may not know about me, because you only know me in my YouTube persona. What's up, Shane? Welcome to the party. What a lot of people, I think, don't understand about me is you hear me talk about a lot of these higher level thinking things like evolutionary psychology and regular psychology and biology and understanding sales and human interaction and peak performance. And people will tell me like, yo, dude, you're insanely smart. And they don't understand, like, I was barely a C student, almost got kicked out of college, by the way. And then not only did I almost get kicked out of college, I almost didn't graduate from college. If the dean of the computer science department hadn't given me a waiver, I would have had to do another semester of school. And I already did. Like, by the way, it took me 5 years to get out of college, friends. So those of you who got out in 4, God bless you. So for those of you who are, you're just so smart. No, I'm not. Don't believe the hype. I'm just a person who is very self-aware of how smart I'm not. Hey, Natalie, how you doing? Natalie, I just followed you on Snapchat. I am very self-aware of how smart I am not, and therefore it causes me to have I don't have bookshelves like this because it looks cool in YouTube videos. Like, this is legit. I read all this stuff, right? This isn't just for decoration or to make me look like a smart person and branding. This is legit. Matter of fact, a lot of these books I read once a month, and some of them are not even in the shot right now because I have a ton of them on my desk. I keep my book bag full of books because I'm always reading stuff. I'm rereading Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within because I have a coaching call tomorrow with my coaching students, which is partially what tonight's call is about. One of the reasons why I have that program is because I understand how important it is for people to have the information that I'm sharing there to succeed at life. And it's not just like an online course where you log in and you watch a bunch of videos. This is me on a call walking people through specific stuff that's going on in their lives so that I can help them navigate some of the challenges. Because once again, I had people do that for me, sometimes for free, sometimes I had to pay for it. But the bottom line is I've had it and I understand how valuable it is, and that's why I preach it all the time. So we're gonna get the second. We don't want to leave my marketing people behind. Look at that, it's already pulled up. So let's go live over here. Hopefully this is gonna work. This is gonna be very interesting. And not to worry, I see all of your comments coming in. We're going to get to that in a second. I just want to see if my marketing channel is going to it's going to let me go live. What's up, clients incoming, former Alloy 7 family? Welcome to the Black Friday shout out video. One of the reasons why I want to bring you all onto the call tonight is because if you've been eyeing my social media ninja academy, especially if you're a YouTuber, most of the academy right now is focused on YouTube. We do have some Facebook videos in there teaching people how to hack the system. But if you want to learn how to hack the system beyond just the algorithm and understanding how to become a great creator, tonight's going to be a very good call for all of you on the marketing channel, all of you on the personal branding channel. Not to worry, it's all going to make sense, I hope, because I've never streamed on 2 separate YouTube channels simultaneously, but that's what we're doing tonight. Let's go ahead and turn the camera here so I don't look like I'm completely sideways. And I want to pop the chat out if it's going to let me. It looks like it's going to work, y'all. What up, Justin Rowell? What up, Joey Webster? What's happening? So for those of you on the marketing channel, so for everyone that's just tuning in over here, understand that I am running 2 separate live streams. One over here on Clients Incoming, one on my personal channel, the BryantChambers Movement. We're going to pop out the chat so I can talk to all of you simultaneously. That's dope. This is the first time I've ever done this. I didn't even know if it could be done. So marketing people, YouTubers, pay attention. If you have 2 separate channels, I've just proven that if you have 2 iPhones, I have like 4 of them, you can broadcast on a bunch of different things. Not broadcasting on Facebook tonight because I wanted to do this and I didn't feel like asking my wife to borrow her phone. Eventually, I will have a phone for every platform and be able to broadcast live everywhere at once. We'll eventually get there. Lore Spade, welcome to the party. So for the people over here on the Clients Incoming side, we have a Black Friday sale going on right now, live and in living color for the Social Media Ninja Academy. If you've been keeping up with the YouTube undergraduate program and the YouTube graduate program, YouTube undergraduate program used to be $200 or $197. I always thought that was weird why people price things like that. Now it's $1. And it would have been free if the system I use to build those websites would let me release a product for free. And so you have to charge somebody something for this integration to work. I'm like, ugh. Just want to give it to him for free. So it's $1. And by the way, if you were that broke that you don't have $1, here's what we're going to do. You buy it, I'll refund your $1. It'll take 3 days to get back to your bank account. But if you are too broke to have $1, you have bigger problems than being a YouTuber. So with that in mind, I'm going to pull up, I need to get to my website very quickly here so I can have links to share with all of you guys. So yeah, and by the way, so that's the undergraduate program. The graduate program, on the other hand, is half price. It's 50% off. So if you've been eyeing it up, wondering if it's time to get in, I'll put a link in the description. And we'll talk more about why it's important, but I want you to have the link while I'm talking. For my personal branding, and by the way, the topics that I'm covering tonight are going to be an important topic for both audiences. Okay, this is a rare opportunity for me to bring all of you together into kind of one singular place, because I understand that I do what looks like 2 very different things, but to be honest with you, they're not. Even though I'm coaching people on YouTube or I'm serving clients with marketing services, the focus is still having a positive impact on their life, which is what my personal brand is dedicated to, helping people take command of their lives. Because as we discussed with you all back Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, we talked about the best place to be in life is where you are in control of all the actions that you take. That's why a lot of you on my YouTube that follow me for YouTube stuff wanted to start a YouTube channel. You didn't want to go to a 9-to-5. You saw people like PewDiePie and Markiplier able to make millions of dollars being funny, and you figured, well, shoot, if I could make 10% of that or 1% of that, I could still carve out a living and do pretty well. And that's probably not a bad idea. I think a lot of people don't realize how much work that takes, right? But it's not a bad goal to have. And so what we're going to talk about tonight is going to apply to that, as well as it's going to apply to most of you who follow me on my personal channel. We focus very heavily on self-awareness. I have since been developing my 69 Pillars of Success program, which, by the way, is absolutely free. Those of you over here on the marketing side should be followed. By the way, if you're not subscribed, like if you are subscribed to me, and there's almost 14,000 of you, if you're subscribed to me for the marketing stuff, you should absolutely be subscribed to me on my personal channel, BryantChambers TV. Because here's the deal. Everyone over here will tell you that all the things that I'm teaching there aren't just going to teach you how to hack the YouTube system Everything that I'm teaching over there is going to teach you how to be dope and how to be awesome. Not because I'm awesome, because I've been surrounded by awesome people who have imparted that stuff to me. Like I said a moment ago before you all came on the call, I get a lot of credit on my channel for being a really smart guy. And what I was explaining to them before you all got here was I was a C student at best. In fact, I'll give you a perfect example. I was accepted to the University of Virginia my junior year in high school because I was doing okay. I got a 960 on my SAT. Does that sound like a really good score? Nope, I sucked at the SAT, right? But I got into UVA somehow by some magic because I was not an academic prowess. I did so poorly my senior year, UVA sent me a letter. And if you don't know, UVA is a pretty prestigious school if you're from where I'm from. I got a letter, unless you went to William & Mary and then you hate UVA. I got a letter from UVA that says, dude, you suck. We don't want you anymore. Okay, then I did get to college, almost got put out of college by my junior year, managed to get through that, and then almost after 5 years of college, because I had to do an extra year, still almost didn't graduate because of a class that I failed in a fight that I got in with my teacher, and the Department of Math didn't want to go against his word, even though he was not telling the truth. If I'm being perfectly honest, I should have passed that class because I did the requisite work that he and I agreed on to up my grade. He accused me of not doing it because he looked bad at a trade show because the person I was training for him didn't show up. That's not my fault, but he still failed me anyway. So I'm not really all that bright. I am smart enough to know that I'm not that smart. So that's why I surround myself with all of this. Like I was saying to you all, the books, like all this stuff, guys, that you can't see because it's off camera. This isn't about image and branding and all that crap you hear people talk about. Your brand has to be congruent. Yeah, I get that. The books are up here because I have to read, yo. I have to read a lot of books because I don't know a lot of things in some cases. Now, I know these things now because I've read, I think, almost everything up here. Some of these books are my wife's books, so I haven't read some of them. But I'm saying all this to say I'm not trying to downplay myself, all right? What I'm trying to help you understand is that you don't have to be freaking Socrates or Einstein to be successful. I'm not. I was a C student at best. So if I can figure out how to hack YouTube to the tune of tens of thousands of followers for boring marketing and psychology content, like who's that guy, right? Who's the guy doing lectures? Unless there is one guy that does lectures and does really well, but he's famous, okay? Like, I'm just nobody who talks about things that are somewhat intelligent that I read somewhere. Most of these ideas that I share with you, by the way, are not original. They're taken from people smarter than me. And in some cases, they are original because they're my own life experience, especially when I talk in the realm of relationships. But by the way, I read a lot about relationships too. This book right here, The State of Affairs, awesome book. I heard Esther speak on Tony Robbins' podcast. By the way, you should be listening to Tony Robbins. A lot of the stuff that I get comes from him, right? YouTubers too. Like, YouTubers have got to not discount knowledge coming from other places besides YouTube gurus, right? Most of the stuff I teach in my social media and Ninja Academy, I spend a little bit of time hacking the system, and then I spend the rest of the time teaching you how to be a better creator, teaching you how to be compelling, right? Because I know I got that down. A lot of these people out here on YouTube are acting. I am naturally compelling. I will give myself that pat on the back, all right, at the risk of sounding arrogant. I am naturally compelling. So I understand the elements of being compelling, but I've also read the books on the science behind why things make us pay attention. Riveted. Awesome book. There's another book up here somewhere that I don't see, but I know it's up here somewhere called, not Contagious, called Compelling People, right? So I understand the science behind being compelling. And I spent the whole first half of the graduate program for you guys, and some of you over here may care too, is focused on making you more compelling. Some of you say, well, I'm boring and I'm not funny. Well, that's what I'm going to help you learn how to do. And I'm going to help you learn how to do it by being yourself, not having to play a character like Felix has to as PewDiePie. All right, that's why I told you guys years ago PewDiePie was going to burn out, because he's having to play a buffoon, and you can tell when you listen to him talk, he is by no, it's like these rappers that pretend to be thugs and pretend to be stupid, and they have master's degrees in molecular biology, right? So a lot of the knowledge that I'm getting isn't my own. So the whole point here is, if I can figure these things out, I can figure out how to hack YouTube, I can figure out how to put a marriage together in a couple of weeks, I will have been married 15 years and insanely happy. Have we been happy every moment of every day? No. I've caused my wife a great deal of pain through some of the things I've been through, from combat to coming home from combat to trying to figure out how to be a human being after the military. It's very hard if you haven't heard, especially if you've been in situations where you've had to watch people die, friendly, enemy or otherwise, right? Trying to put my life back together and dealing with depression and PTSD. So at every moment, it hasn't been amazing. But I can guarantee you we've won more than we've lost, and we are happier together now than we've ever been, and we're growing every single day. And I'm figuring those things out through my own experience, but because I enlist the smarts of people who are far wiser than me, some of which come from books, some of which come from direct mentors. And so the reason why I'm on YouTube, and let me be clear, because I say this quite a bit, but I don't know that I say it on social media. So let me be clear. I'm watching people talk to me on Instagram. I'm not a fan of social media, personally. Okay? I accept social media for what it is. And by the way, social media, like Gary Vaynerchuk says, is just slang. It's the internet. I accept the internet for what it is. It is the means through which we all communicate now. I don't like it. Like somebody the other day was saying, hey, have you seen such and such on Facebook? I'm like, I've never heard of that. Like, how do you have clients and you teach people on Facebook? I said, well, you've got it twisted. You see, you think Mark Zuckerberg is browsing all of your feeds every night? Of course not. He is a producer, right? Hey, Abiola, how you doing? Mark Zuckerberg is a producer, not a consumer. I am a producer and not a consumer. I very much wish, you know, I could focus all of my attention on getting attention without having to be on Facebook and Snapchat. Like, do you think I enjoy Snapchat? Like, personally. Personally, I have no vested interest in making funny faces like the one I made and posted last night at Thanksgiving. I don't get any real joy out of that, but I do it because I know you all, or some people, do. And then they're willing to connect with me in a way that allows me to impact their lives in a positive way. Right? Like, I miss being on stage in front of real people. That's where I'm at my best. Because one of the things I can't do here, and I was telling my business partner about this today, I said, you know, sometimes I do sell things on the internet, right? And I said, I am a much better salesman in person. You know, like I have I think almost 100% closing record with when I meet with a client and closing the deal. Like I have an insane, like closing, like I'm able to close a client. Now, not all of those clients are still with me for various reasons, but I'm good in person, just like I was good on stage. And especially when I'm doing public speaking, I can react to the crowd because I can see how you all are reacting to me. Like my personality comes across as very aggressive, or at the very least, very commanding. And I can tell when I'm in a room where people are starting to feel threatened or pushed by that, and then I can slow it down a little bit. I can slow down my speech. I can talk a little bit more softly and make them feel comfortable and pull them in. On the internet, I can't do that, right? So I'm able to do all of these things because, and I'm not off topic, we're going to get to it. I'm able to do all of these things because of the great people who I've had in my corner for a very long time. Me being on social media is paying it forward. That's why probably 90% of what I do is absolutely free. Like programs that you would spend anywhere from $50 to hundreds of dollars for, like my 69 Pillars program. If you get that from, say, Ty Lopez, and I'm not downing him, I bought his 67 Pillars. In fact, his 67 Steps is where I got the idea for the 69 Pillars, so credit to him. And his program is very good. He has a lot of high-level strategic knowledge that he's sharing with people. Now, most of it was stuff that I've probably heard before, but it was in a different light and presented in a way that helped it stick. And one of the things you all need to recognize about life is that life is about repetition. What I tell my kids when they struggle in math, because like I said, I was barely a C student. Every once in a while, I got B's or an A, but it was rare. Let's just say I got my Nintendo taken away from me a lot when I was a kid. Like when every report card season, I would get my Nintendo taken away for a month because I pretty much sucked in school. But what I'm able to present to you and what I'm doing on social media that other people are charging for, I'm giving it away for free, like with my 69 Pillars program. And that's simply because all the knowledge that's wrapped up in that program is something that somebody else gave me or helped me through in my life. So in the back of my heart, I didn't think it was right. Why would I charge? Like, people could technically look this up. They may not get as good an explanation as I'm going to give, because a lot of the principles that I'm teaching aren't things that I think about or things that I just read in a book. The 69 Pillars that I'm sharing with you are things that I've lived and things that I've proven. Okay, like for example, the video, the Combat Commander's Most Powerful Weapon. I lived through being a combat leader. I lived through what not being situationally aware can do to you. For example, a civilian on the battlefield, which I had told all of my guys to monitor and not fire at, because I'm not in the business of killing innocents, even though they're in the middle of our firefight, which is stupid, but it's their country, not mine. I can't tell that guy when to get up and go to the mall or wherever he was going, because not everyone was situationally aware to the order that I gave. Somebody started shooting at the guy. And so I get on the radio, I start yelling, check fire, which means stop shooting. I was like, the order I gave was check your fire and just keep an eye on the guy. We don't know if he's an enemy combatant. So what happens? He hides in a ditch. Now we can't see him. And we don't know if he's an enemy combatant. And now I have to put him into deeper harm's way by firing grenades short of the ditch, not into the ditch because I don't want to kill him, but we had to fire grenades short of the ditch that he jumped into to hide in. And then I had my interpreters yelling at him in Arabic, get out of the ditch so we don't have to kill you. So now we're in a situation where we're in the middle of a firefight. It's me, a bunch of other special forces guys. Like, it's this mixture of things that are happening, right? And now one of us has to keep an eye on freaking Johnny Utah over here, who probably was just trying to walk home, but maybe is hiding a weapon. Versus if we just could have monitored him walking, he eventually would have disappeared and probably ridden off into the sunset. We could have disregarded him. But because we weren't situationally aware, things happened. And I mean we, collectively as a team. Some of us were, some of us weren't. And that's something that I've lived through. So this isn't just things I got out of a Tony Robbins book and I'm just regurgitating it to you. These are things that I've lived through and I can prove that they work. And I thought, why charge people for that? You know, the military didn't charge me to learn that. In fact, they paid me to learn that. You know what I mean? So it's crazy. But I really just want to drive home. I appreciate the compliments you all give me, but don't get it in your mind that I am some prodigy that's smarter than the average bear. I just work harder at it, and I pay attention to things, and I read a lot. Because I have to. Like, I don't read a ton of books because it's fun. I advocate reading and try to hype it up like it's awesome. I hated reading growing up. Like, every book report I did was of a book that I knew the script to the movie, so I could just write the book report without reading the book. Like, I had a teacher let me write a book report my sophomore year in high school on Empire Strikes Back. I know the entire script to Empire Strikes Back. I can recite it. So I didn't have to read the book. I could write the report from memory, right? So the key point here for both audiences is that it's absolutely necessary that you have mentors and coaches. And whether you pay for them, you get them for free, or they're people that are in your life, I really don't care. But it's essential. You know, a lot of the smarts that you guys attribute to me are coming from me learning from other people like Tony Robbins. My wife is on my case right now because she wants me to go back to applying for a job, specifically with Tony Robbins, to basically be one of his understudies, and I'm kind of fighting with it because although it pays well, I don't necessarily want to go get a job. Even though I would pay Tony Robbins to let me work with him, literally. Like, I'd be like, I'll pay you. He's a billionaire, he doesn't need my money, but to be able to learn from one of the guys who I emulate and look up to, it's pretty awesome. But nobody gets awesome without somebody helping them and coaching them. Not Michael Jordan, not Bill Gates, not Steve Jobs, not Gandhi, not Martin Luther King, not Jay-Z. all these people that you see that are supremely successful, and you can fill in the blank with whatever, mentors, coaches, whatever you want to call them, people that help you. You know, back in my day, you know, Ty kind of made popular in the modern business world, and Harvard Business Review have kind of made the term mentor popular. I didn't call that growing up. I just had people that taught me things, you know, instructors, coaches, etc., etc. So with that in mind, let's get into some commentary. This is, like I said, it's an open Q&A. You can ask me whatever you want from the marketing side, from the personal and professional development side. I'm here for you. Hopefully all of you had an amazing Thanksgiving. I know that I did. Had a lot of fun. So let's see who's here. Kimberly Kristen Experience is here. Luzalania is here. It looks like I pronounced her name properly. That's awesome. Anne is here. Hi, Bryant. Love your videos. Do you have any ideas for mentors for highly sensitive people in particular? Thank you. Absolutely. You want to get around people who have a high level of empathy. So I think if you ask the people who are in my programs, they would tell you that I'm very empathetic to their situation. And while I come across as kind of a man's man, an alpha male on camera on my show, that is my default personality. But at the end of the day, when I'm working with people, it's my job to pull excellence out of them. And a lot of times I can see what's holding them back just from spending a little bit of time with them, whether it's on helping YouTubers or helping people figure out how to run their business or their lives better. It's my job to listen and to be empathetic to the situation. You know, I've had people that say, I feel like I'm failing at this, and this is, my problem is X. And I'm like, you don't have a problem with that. I said, your real problem is this over here. Or to me, it looks like you don't have a problem with this. What do you think about this? And getting them to see it from a different perspective. If you're looking for mentors that aren't online, it's really just finding people who have a great deal of empathy and patience. Right? Because remember, highly sensitive people aren't just emotionally high maintenance. These are people that are sometimes overwhelmed by light or loud noises. I am somewhat sensitive to loud noises. I'll tell you one thing that I'm highly sensitive to, and to a person. All my friends that I talk to that have been in direct combat deal with this. We don't handle crowds well. Because most of my friends, people in my generation who fought in wars, we fought in places where we'd be in crowds and you didn't always know who the bad guys were. Like, I've literally been in places where we've been shot at with RPGs and we could not figure out where it came from to return fire. And at the same time, we've got civilians around, so we don't want to kill them in the process of trying to defend ourselves. Right? So I think it's important for you to be aware of what you're highly sensitive to. I think I would do some real strong self-discovery there. What are you actually what are you highly sensitive to? And just making sure that anyone that's coaching you is empathetic to that they can work with the things that set you off. For example, if being highly sensitive means spending a lot of time listening and talking to other people is going to overwhelm you, you want to work with a coach that can work with you in smaller increments. You know, if being in a group coaching setting with a lot of other people causes you some social anxiety, and I'm just making these up, this doesn't necessarily apply to you, but then you want to find someone who has more time to coach one-on-one. You know, that's something that I don't necessarily have time to do a lot because, you know, with multiple children and a business to run and houses and house payments and blah, 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 it's not financially sound for me to coach a lot of people one-on-one for free. Even though I do it from time to time, I don't do it very often. And so like the rates I charge for one-on-one coaching is very high versus for group coaching, I can make it a lot cheaper. And I can give people 10 times what they pay in a group setting because the group is paying me what I would be getting paid for one person, but I'm able to coach them all at once, which creates a little bit more work for me, but I'm willing to do it to help people. Those are things I would consider. Shane says, hi. What's up, Shane? Natalie, hello. Keith Boyer, you put in your hours as well as your affirmations. Let's see. Shane says, I just went to school for basketball. I feel like I went to school for football. Over to the marketing side. Joey Webster says first. Justin Rowell says, what up, B? Laura Spade is in the house. Terry, my brother, you didn't know that wearing a beanie instead of a baseball cap could be done. Oh, yeah. I keep it. Now, I realize that the beanie that I'm wearing may be somewhat offensive to some people. It's not intended to be. By the way, I am part Native American, so there's that. I don't know that maybe justifies it for people who are offended by this, but just know it's not being. This is my favorite team. I'm cool with changing the name if that's one of the soapboxes that you find yourself on. Less because of the racial implications, because I don't think most people who are using the term are being intentionally. I think intent is everything. And if people are not intending to, like if the forefathers meant it to be racist, I get that. But I don't know that anybody now intends it that way, especially not the fans. But more importantly, I just think the name is kind of corny. I think Washington Warriors makes way more sense. It just sounds cooler than Redskins to me. But I'm also not a very sentimental guy. I know there's some Redskins right now very angry with me. Let's see. Justin Rose says, glad to see you. It's been a while. It has been a while. But that's why you guys, by the way, you got to do this. This has to happen. Everybody on the marketing channel, check this out. I'm about to post a link. Hopefully I get the link right. Let's see if this. Tell me, everyone on Clients Incoming, click that link and tell me if it takes you to my other YouTube channel. And when you're there, subscribe. I produce content there way more often. And just to give you a brief explanation, if you haven't been around, haven't heard me talk about my father passing away and all the things that have been happening with me, with my marketing business, I pulled away from coaching on YouTube, mostly because I started focusing on clients who sell things, businesses, right? And a lot of those clients don't need YouTube. And I feel like I had added about as much value as I possibly could for the YouTube audience in terms of the things that I am particularly skilled to coach on, for two reasons. One, I can only talk about algorithms and monetization so much. But two, the things that I'm really good at coaching on, the YouTuber audience isn't really looking for so much. So for me to spend hours producing a video that 8 people are going to watch and not really care about, like one of my favorite videos to this day is how to not be shy on camera. But most YouTubers who are looking for marketing advice or how do I get to 1 million subscribers? I don't care about any of that. Like I literally don't look at my subscriber numbers. I don't care because I'm not in the game for subscribers or AdSense money. I'm in the game to add value to people. So keep that in mind. But yeah, click that. Make sure you're subscribed to my other YouTube channel because the things I coach on over there are going to help you as a YouTuber. Probably more than the algorithm stuff because I'm going to teach you things like discipline and persistence and consistency and how to be compelling. And if you do that for long enough, you'll never have to worry about subscribers. Terry says, your school scores are a lie. Yeah, I can accept that. Captain Spock says, good to see you, B. What's up, Captain Spock? If Bryant were a comedian, he'd be the compare. What's the compare? I'm not sure what the compare is. Melody says, how do I tell if my turtle is bi? I don't know. I didn't know turtles could be bi. All right, back to the BryantChambers movement, folks. C.S. Taylor Jr. says, Bryant, you're the bomb, dude. Thank you. You're the bomb, too. Natalie Rader says, fist bump to 5-year college students. And yes, I'm grateful for the Snapchat follow. And right now, my personal channel is destroying the viewership. So you guys are winning. Audience number 1, you guys are murdering. The marketing channel is clocked out. You guys are killing it, so thank you for that. Although Terry's holding it down, I can always count on him. Let's see. C.S. Taylor says, Tony Robbins' YouTube, How to Have an Extraordinary Life. Check it out, Brian. I think I've seen that. I've watched a lot of Tony stuff. Natalie Rader, Claudia says, hi. Hey, Claudia. Natalie says, LOL, there it is again, naturally compelling. Natalie Rader again says, dude, if one says I am not funny or I'm not smart, well, boom, you're simply that. Speak to the opposite existence. Yeah, speak the opposite into existence. Abiola says, hi. Luzalania says, where can I find your book list? I remember reading, so there's 2 ways you can look at my book list. You can go to BryantChambers.com/books or /library. But if you go to my website, the link is there. You also, if you're following me on Snapchat, I do a book of the day. Right? I read 3 books a week, usually at least. And I post what I'm reading. Like today, I posted The Conversion Code, which, if you find my book bag, I'll show it to you. And by the way, YouTubers, you guys should totally be looking at this book because all of you are trying to make money on YouTube, and you definitely need to learn ways beyond. You need to learn ways to make money beyond AdSense. AdSense is a joke. All right, and Conversion Code was today's book of the day over on Instagram. This is a really good book, by the way. Kind of bought it on a whim off of Chris Smith was actually on Ty Lopez's podcast. Ty always recommends, if Ty does nothing else amazing, he's recommending books. He's the king. So, and then my mentor Joe recommends some really good books that I usually pass on. So yeah, book a day on Instagram. I talk about how I'm applying it to my life, why it's important. I do have a book list on my website that I don't think I've updated that in about a month, you know, with my dad passing away and everything. A lot of YouTube and social media kind of came to a pause. Luckily, I have an editor who was keeping my Facebook channel, my Facebook page up to date, but the YouTube stuff kind of fell off. And it needed to fall off because I was going to start going in a different direction, so it was timely. Let's see. Shane says, do what makes you both happy. Yep. Ann says, great answer. Thanks. Awesome. I'm going to start calling Luzalania Lou. Can I call you Lou? Hopefully I can. Hopefully that doesn't offend you. Kudos to that statement, wanting subscribers with no true value. Why bother? Yeah, it's, you know, subscribers are important. Don't get me wrong, but it's not what you should be playing the game. Like most people are obsessed with subscribers because they think when they get to a certain number, then their AdSense money is going to kick in and they're going to make, you know, enough money to do whatever it is they're trying to do. And I've always said I'd rather have 10 engaged subscribers than 100 people that don't pay attention to anything that I'm doing. You know, like if you saw Gary V's talk, especially for you YouTubers, if you saw Gary Vaynerchuk's talk at VidCon, when the dude got on the mic and said, I only have 400 subscribers, he's like, but I made $250,000 with those 400 subscribers. Like, if you have the right subscribers, you know, if your subscribers are all a bunch of billionaires, you ain't got to have a lot of them to make money. You know, that's the thing that's hard to teach people. Yes, lose is fine. Is it lose or lose? Not sure how to say that. I want to make sure I get it right. Nigel says, good evening, everyone. Good evening, Nigel. Felt like Jocko Willink right there. He says, good evening, Echo. Good evening. I love that. And I totally swagger jack Jocko's introduction to his podcast for mine. You know, sorry, Jocko. You have an awesome intro. I stole part of it and used it for mine. Because for podcasting, Jocko fits my personality very, very well. It's very serene, very sobering, very direct. And if you're not listening to my podcast, you are doing it wrong. Podcast is dope. Not tooting my own horn. It's dope. You should check it out. Legit Talk TV says, have you made more money since you read that book? Is he reading YouTube Live? Have I made more money since I read which book? So I just read this book today. And I guess technically, yeah, I did have some sales today. So, yeah. We had some people buy into our Social Media Ninja Academy today. So, yeah. Technically, I did have more sales today. So, yeah. Social Media Ninja Academy reminder to those of you watching on either channel. I know if I have some YouTubers that follow me over here too. Undergraduate program, $1. I'll refund the $1 if you want it for free. It's fine with me. And the graduate program is 50% off. So if you want to talk about that, I'll post a link toward the end of the talk tonight. I don't want to start inundating my chat with a bunch of links trying to sell you guys crap. I'll link you to it at the end. I can tell you that these are programs that I believe in with my whole heart and soul. I have a rule that I will never sell anything that doesn't give at least 10 times the value of what the price is. So, believe that. So, luz means light in Spanish. Yes, I am tracking that. But the way you spelled it was L-U-Z-E, which I'm not sure. Do I say loose or luce or luzy? So, if it's loose, then I'm on board. Loose. I do speak a little bit of Spanish. So loose. So if it's loose, I'm all in. Happy to say that. I want to start my channel, but feel... So Loose says, I want to start my channel, but feel not information... Are you trying to say I feel my information is not interesting? then you definitely need to holler at my Ninja Academy, because I help you work through that. You know, I help people work through this myth that, oh, what I do is not interesting. Like, it's neither is a kid from Sweden shoving video game controllers up his behind, but he figured out how to make it interesting. That he did. That he did. So yeah, it's very important, friends, that you take very seriously the notion of having other people in your life that can speak into your life, that know you, or that can get to know you, or at least understand your situation, such that they can help you progress towards whatever your goals for success are. Whatever, and you're the one that determines success, not a mentor, not a coach, not even a job. I mean, you get to determine what success is for your life. And when you do X, that means success. That's up to you. So, but in order to get there, and do you have to have mentors to get there? I argue yes. Could you somehow become successful without people helping you? Technically you could, but it's going to take you a lot longer. You know, I have mentors like my mentor Joe, who's really helped me with sales. Like, I've spent my whole life building businesses, for like running a company in the military basically, and then running a company in Fortune 500 for another person, like building the company, managing expenses, you know, bringing in revenue, things like that, but not actually going out and doing the sales. And so my mentor helps me with sales a lot. It helps me to understand the science behind the sales, not the charisma and I bought from that guy because he was so captivating. It's like, no, there's a system to it that, you know, my mentor Joe really helps me a lot with, because that sales was never my background. I've always been on the leadership side of the house. So, you know, those are the things that go on. So I think it's very important. What I really wanted to drive home for all of you tonight is just don't disregard the importance of having other people who can speak into your life that can help you do what it is you're trying to do and get there fast. If you want to be a YouTuber, get with other YouTubers who are doing what you want to do and who are doing it successfully, and just say, hey, can you spend 5 minutes with me to talk about some things that I have questions about? You know, I do that in my Ninja Academy for the YouTubers. You know, we have the online course where you go through the lessons, but we have a VIP program as well. Excuse me. We have a VIP program as well where I meet with them every month. And it's it's like Netflix. It's a monthly subscription. Every month we have a meeting where I walk them through certain things, right? But I can't walk them through everything. I've not built a gaming channel to 1 million followers, so I can't teach on that. Now, I can teach principles that I know other people have used to get there, but I can't talk about it from personal experience. So it's important that even though what I'm giving you is very valuable, it's important that you have other people there too to do that. Especially if my goal is to fundamentally change the world. So what I'm doing takes longer for people to catch on to, right? Somebody told me today, man, I'm watching your videos and man, like, you don't have that many viewers for how awesome your content is, dude. This is some of the best content I've ever seen. And I said, you don't know very many all-star players who started off at the top. You know, Peyton Manning wasn't that great when he first started. Neither was Tom Brady, if you're not a football fan. You know, Oprah Winfrey didn't start off at the top, right? She had to work her way up, and she was clearly better than a lot of the other people who were making it at the time, but it took her longer to get there because what she was working on was bigger. Right? What I'm working on, the legacy that I'm trying to leave behind and what I'm trying to do with all of you is so much bigger than getting 100,000 subscribers or 1 million subscribers. It's about changing lives for people. And that's exactly, you don't get to see it much on YouTube because a lot of the conversations I'm having with people, we can't have in the public because they're very private issues that people are dealing with that I would never disclose, right? But I'm here changing lives, and that's what I'm focusing on. But most people aren't coming to YouTube to change their life. That takes time, and that takes building trust, because I'm asking people to be transparent and intimate with me. Most YouTubers are asking you, just give me 20 minutes of your time so I can make you laugh. Now, I will make you laugh. I'll inspire you. I'll motivate you. But what I'm working on is about getting into your life and helping you take command of your life and get to where you want to be. That takes time, and that takes building rapport and trust way deeper than just simply entertaining people. So make no mistake, you need to learn from other people too. Now, if your job and your goal is to change the world, then you should have already been in all of my programs. Because I was raised by a man who changed the world, right? My dad was a freaking beast. I don't talk about him a lot because I don't like to brag and talk about how my upbringing was freaking amazing, because I was abandoned by my biological father and fell into a family where the father that raised me became one of the premier leaders in the military, period. Right? There are books written about some of the command philosophies my dad established. My dad is in the African American History Museum in DC, the one that was just built. His picture is in there. And so is his brothers. Right? So these are people, like, that's the family I landed in. What kid gets abandoned? Like, most kids that get abandoned, their story is they grew up in a drug neighborhood and eventually they made it out. Like, I grew up in a military family with one of the baddest dudes on the planet. Like, who has that story? Now, I don't tell that a whole lot because it's like I'm not trying to brag and be like, oh, I'm so awesome, because it has nothing to do with me. I just won the lottery, right? But I lived with a person who lived for changing the world, and then he instilled that in me. So if that's the train that you're on, then you should be in every program that I run, whether it's free, paid, or otherwise, because that's where I'm headed. Now, if you want to just learn how to be more entertaining, I've got some experience with that too. You know, I was a paid musician for a little while. Did a lot of time on stage, understand how to be compelling. But it's not about me, it's about what you're trying to do. And the bottom line is, whatever it is you're trying to do, it's smart to have other people who can help you be better at it. It just is, because you'll do it faster, right? And I can't tell you how many people I work with that are these lone wolves. They just want to do it. And by the way, I can be a lone wolf too. But I'm older now, and I've learned being a lone wolf sucks. Let me get someone to help me with this. And that's what I really want to impart to all of you tonight, is get somebody. I don't care if it's me, if it's Ty Lopez, or it's JT Fox, or whoever you want to sign up with. Get people to train you. And yeah, sometimes the people that are going to train you, if they're going to train you, are going to charge you for it, because their time is just as valuable as yours, right? They have families to feed, and they're taking time away from those families, so it's fair to ask that they be, you know, properly compensated for that. Now, a lot of what I'm going to do here is going to be free. But if I'm personally coming into your home and coaching you, walking you through things, then no. My wife would be like, no, bruh. We got groceries, G. You know, my grocery bill is almost $1,000 a month. You know, I'm not doing charity work to make $1,000 a month to feed my kids. You feel me? So those are things you want to think about. Let's see. Legit Talk TV says, I've been on YouTube for 3 months. The secret is consistency and hit the right topics. Okay, cool. Giant Monster Game says, what is this? Live stream. That's what it is, brother. Terry says, what I find funny is that when I work hard on content, it doesn't get much attention. But when I don't work hard and just slap something together, it gets tons of attention. So maybe you should be paying attention. Look deeper into the things you don't work hard on. Look at the content. Look at the context. And look at what you're doing and try to figure out what's winning so that you can apply that to the videos you do work hard on. Giant Monster Games says, the Ninja Academy is awesome. 100% recommend. Sweet. Giant Monster, are you in the undergraduate program or the graduate program? Or did you get into it long enough ago to where we had the belt system? So I appreciate the shout out, but what I want you to do is let the audience know what level you're at so we can speak to which part of it you're saying is awesome. Let's see. Terry309 says, I thought you said you used to live near some drug dealers who tried to sell you drugs. That was as an adult. Yes, I lived in the hood as an adult. And no, I did not live near drug dealers. I lived near a person who was strung out on crack, who was always trying to sell me merchandise so that he could go buy crack. And yes, there was a drug house. The second neighborhood I lived in, that was the hood, had a drug house that got shot up. But no one ever tried to sell me drugs. There's a third story. What you may be conflating it with is when I was in combat, there were kids in the country trying to sell drugs. But no, in none of the neighborhoods I lived in did anybody walk up and try to sell me drugs. I had drug addicts try to sell me merchandise. I had a drug addict try to sell me high heel pumps, cologne, He tried to sell me a porno tape, and I don't know, because he was stealing the stuff. Because we'd see him at the mall, and everyone knew who he was. He was like the neighborhood crackhead, and you see him walking around with his bag, and I'm like, he's stealing all this stuff, and I was wondering, how did this dude steal porno tapes? Because if you've ever been to a porno shop, it's not like the tapes are just, and this, clearly I'm old because none of this exists anymore. It's all on the internet, like pre-internet porn. You didn't go steal tapes. Like the tapes, they kept it behind the counter. Like he was a mastermind thief if he's stealing porno tapes. Yes, I understand how old I sound by talking about porno tapes, but that's the way it goes, yo. All right, let's go back to the personal brand. I'm loving this. What do you guys think? Leave me a comment. Tell me what you think about doing 2 simultaneous broadcasts at once. I really like this idea. I think it's cool. Ella Wilson says, hello. Hello, Ella. Welcome back. Luz says, amazing. Uh-oh, what was amazing? What did I miss? Nigel says, I'm hoping to make my AFOQT next week. The day before my birthday, wish me luck. So is that Air Force officer something training? I'm not sure what AFOQT stands for. See, Belgian Dan says hello. Luz says amazing. What was amazing? What did I miss? Oh, my dad's story. Yeah, my dad was a beast, man. May God rest his soul. Shane, it's awesome. Like a conference. Yeah, good luck, Nigel. Seb Sports says, do you have a Nintendo Switch? Not yet, but I will. I will. My kids are saving it because I told my kids that if I do get a Nintendo Switch, I'm not sharing it with them because I see how they don't take good care of their stuff. So, nope. I said, if you want it, so they're all saving up their money so they can get one too. But I'm in no rush. Like, I can get a Nintendo Switch 4 years from now. I don't care. Like, it has no games that are must-haves for me right now. I don't like Zelda. I played Breath of the Wild on the Wii U because my kids couldn't wait and they bought it there. And I was like, it's cool, I guess, but I don't care for Zelda, especially with breaking weapons and having to cook food. I was like, this is like every survival game that I hate. No thanks. I do want to play Xenoblade Chronicles 2. Hopefully they make it better than the first one. Let's see. Why are you not making videos anymore? I am making videos all the time. They're just on my other channel that I've been telling you guys and ladies to subscribe to. BryantChambers TV. And if you go there now, I'm also broadcasting there, so you can watch me in 2 places. Let's see. So Seb Sports says, what about Mario? No, I don't care. I haven't liked platformers since high school. And high school for me was a very long time ago. It's like Civil War. Like, I was one of the first slaves that was released. And so now I played Mario Odyssey and it was cute. But platform games just don't give me any real sense of fun anymore. So, I play them for 5 minutes with my kids, but then I get bored and want to do something else. Terry says, I will never buy another Nintendo console until F-Zero comes back. Seb Sports says, what types of games do you like? I like RPGs, man. If you go to my Instagram, I have 2 Instagram accounts. I have BryantChambers Lives, that's me. And then I have BryantChambers Games, which is kind of an experimental one where I just post game stuff. I just bought Final Fantasy XII, the Axiom Verge special box set. Shouts out to Tom Happ. Love you, dude. I got Axiom Verge for free, so I've felt like I reached out to Tom Happ, who's the developer of Axiom Verge, if you don't know. If you don't know what Axiom Verge is, you're living like you're a heathen that needs to repent and pray to God to forgive you. It's basically a Metroid remake by a person who was inspired by Metroid. And Metroid is one of my favorite games, if not my most favorite game of all time. And I hit him up like 2 years before the game came out. I was like, yo, please let me review this game on YouTube. He's like, brother, if I finish this game, you can review it wherever you want. And then when it came, right before it came out, he gave me access to it about a month early. And so, I got a month early access. Like, he gave me a free copy a month early. I reviewed it. It was my favorite game. It was my top game of 2015. And so I felt inclined every time Tom put something else out, I buy it. In fact, I bought copies of Axiom Verge when it came out on PC to give away to other people as part of a bundle. And I paid the higher price because I feel like people like him who make really dope games and sweat and bleed to make it happen as a one-man band. Plus, he brought on another guy to help him do his marketing. I think those guys deserve to win. And so anything I can do to support them and hook people up, because I was still doing gaming at the time and giving away free games was something I enjoyed doing. It helped me to hook up my audience and take care of Tom at the same time. So it was dope. It's very interesting how the cameras are different. I have an iPhone 6 here and an iPhone 7 here. This camera's way better. So my marketing folks got the short end of the stick. But RPGs is mostly what I like. I just bought Final Fantasy 12. Just bought Yakuza Kiwami. Nier Automata is arguably the best Japanese role-playing game I've played since Final Fantasy 12 back on PlayStation 2. Like, it's dope, man. Persona 5, nope, too long. Persona games are way too long. I hate dungeon crawlers. I love the simulation parts of Persona. I hate the dungeon crawling. And it's long. Like Persona 3 was like 100 billion hours, and I couldn't finish it because it got too tedious. Let's see. And I do love open world RPGs. Baby Zone says, I saw your video, The Last Ride, and thought you stopped. No, so one of the things that's really hard about YouTube is when you're trying to be figurative or speak with someone else's voice, people assume you're speaking about you. I was not burnt out. I was speaking for people who get burnt out on YouTube, who say, I've had enough, I can't take it anymore, and trying to give them something encouraging. At the same time, I was going on hiatus from my marketing channel because I needed to figure out, okay, I've done everything I can do in this space. I need to reinvent. I need to come back stronger and with content that I know I can sustain forever. I knew I couldn't do YouTube, weekly coaching because it comes down to three things. People want more views, more subscribers, and more money. I can only talk about that so much without it becoming gimmicky or having to find, did you learn this new tool that YouTube just... I'm not going to be reviewing freaking TubeBuddy and like... There's a million other creators who are good at that and are way better at me than it. There's Tim, there's Daryl, there's Roberto, who can cover a lot of that stuff way better than I could ever hope to. So it wasn't that I was quitting. It's that what I needed to do on YouTube couldn't really fit. What I needed to do on YouTube couldn't fit on that channel. And if I wanted to keep making content for that channel, it was always going to be a cut below Tim and Daryl. Interestingly enough, though, even though I helped, content that I produced is part of the reason why Tim's channel exploded. So I don't take credit for it, but I do realize that I was part of the catalyst. So, yeah, I can only spin things so many times before I get bored. So no, I was by no means quitting. The other thing too was I was doing so much coaching, and one of the walls I was running into, and this is a lesson for both audiences, I was coaching and people were looking at me like, why are you qualified to coach when you have so few followers? I was like, well, I'm qualified to coach, bro, because I've run companies, like all the things you guys are talking about you want to do, I've done it, and I'm walking you through how it's done, how you build something valuable. And I had my own company, and I knew I could speak to that. But one of the things I couldn't beat was people's cognitive biases, specifically the social proof bias, which is, well, if you don't have 1 million followers, how are you qualified to talk to us? So I took that advice. I said, okay, fine, I'll shut up until I do have hundreds of thousands of followers. Then I'll come back and talk to you guys when you'll actually listen. So it was one of those things where it was hard to convey to people what I am teaching is not as sought after as what other people who teach are teaching. Right? So I had to move into what I'm actually really good at teaching, which is how to fight the war of life. That's what I'm best at. I'm not best at YouTube tips and tricks. I'm good at it because I understand business. I've been YouTube certified. I understand how the algorithm works. But I am best at helping people win the war of life. So I wasn't quitting at all. I just needed to shut up on the marketing, because really what I wanted to transition into was talking about marketing on other platforms. But I experimented with some content. People weren't really interested, so I was like, I'll just focus on my personal stuff. Baby Zone says, but you were not happy on one of your videos in the forest. I don't remember that one. I've never really been unhappy. I've been frustrated in that I got pigeonholed into kind of a niche that I didn't want to be in. But, you know, it's life, man. That's the way it goes. Baby Zone says, your videos are great. You were as good as them, really. I watched Daryl and Tim, but your videos still really good and found some information they don't have. Well, I mean, that's why I say it's important that you learn from everybody, because you're going to learn stuff from Tim that I don't know. You'll learn stuff from Daryl that I don't know. You'll learn stuff from me that they may know, but they're not teaching on. So that's why it's good to learn from everybody. Terry says, I'm off. See you. Good to see you, Terry. Thanks for coming through, man. Always a pleasure to see you, brother. So yeah, Baby Zone, you need to holler at me on BryantChambers TV. I'm streaming on that channel as well right now, and I'm neglecting that audience. So let me get back to them. And kudos to you all, because you're still here. Like, this audience rocks. They just hold the fort down while I'm talking. Let's see. Luce says, you manage all your channels well. I'm enjoying watching you in actions. Thank you. Ella says, hi, Shane. Shane says, I like open world. So do I, Shane. Belgian Dan says, been burned out for a while now. Still love being here. Oh, been burned? Does it say burned? Yeah, the text is so small in here, sometimes I can't see it. Ella says, so, how did you get to fighting the war? How did you get to fighting the war of life? I mean, that's what it's my first career was as a combatant, you know, and before I had my career, I was in church ministry. So I was working with people who were having all kinds of issues and ministering to them. And then I went into the military as a combat officer, and I had to lead people through a real war. And I just realized in combat is an excellent metaphor for real life. Like, real life is like a war. Nature does not give two craps about you, right? It doesn't. And if you don't know how to fight and you don't know how to take command of your life, someone else will, and you'll be at someone else's mercy for your entire existence. So I transitioned into what I was best at, which is helping people fight, right? And helping people fight in a way that's healthy and where they can be happy, and where, you know, you can not live in fear all the time. I mean, when you go through areas where people are trying to kill you, let me make this clear. When you go to a country where people are paid to kill you, there's not a lot of other things in life that scare you that much. You know, like even the night I remember when my youngest, my baby son, was having a seizure and he turned blue because he wasn't breathing enough. I remember I went into combat mode. I was not scared. I did not start panicking. My family started panicking, so I got them under control. I told my kids, keep the noise down. We need to stay focused. Make some room. He's having a seizure. Make some room so he can spread out. I told my wife, stop crying for a second. Call 911. I called 911 so that she could be with the baby. 911 got there. We walked through the progression, and we just worked through it. When you've been in a place where people are paid to kill you and they try very hard to do it, it's not a lot of things in life that scare you anymore. You get what's called perspective. And a lot of what I coach and teach or whatever preach on is about perspective. You know, on Twitter, if you're not following me on Twitter, what are you doing? The second letter, THESECONDLETTER. If you can't remember that, people call me B. It's the second letter in the alphabet. And I tweeted out on Twitter that, you know, if you're tweeting, I hate my life, and you know what Starbucks is, you are living wrong. Your perspective's off. It just is. Like, you live in a world where Starbucks exists, and you hate your life. You don't live in a country where people are trying to kill you every day. You don't live in a country where you have to prostitute your older sister to other men so that you can have enough money to get food to eat. I've been to those places, right? It's just about perspective. And so I got to that because I've lived it, and I know how to help other people through it because I've done it. Peter Cole says, we're always here. Stephanie says, I like your INFP videos. Thank you, Stephanie. Glad you're enjoying them. Let's see. Baby Zone says, you know, even if God made the perfect video, you will some people disliking. So don't worry about what people say. Yeah, I don't know if that was directed at me. I don't ever worry about what people say. In fact, I like when people hate on me. I love it when someone gets angry on my video. And this is about perspective. Everything you experience in your life is how you react, right? I love it when people get angry at me and yell at me on videos because it means I have struck a nerve. Now, I'm not intentionally trying to make them angry. They're making themselves angry. I can't make you anything. I can say something that offends you intentionally or unintentionally, but you're the one that decides if you're going to be angry about it, not me. But what it means is I've touched on something that's important. So instead of getting bummed out like, oh man, this person's so angry and they're calling me an idiot because I disagree with, you know, modern science that thinks ADHD is a thing. By the way, my son's been diagnosed with AD, not ADHD, but ADD, okay? So it's not like I'm not aware. I still think it's BS. Am I right? I don't know. I just know he has no trouble paying attention for 7 hours if he's watching Dan TDM or playing Minecraft. So apparently this ADD phenomenon is situational. And I think it's more likely that we have what's called an evolutionary mismatch, and that there's a correlation between our inability to pay attention and the life we're experiencing that's not suited to the way our brains have evolved. We're calling it a disorder so we can sell people drugs. But, you know, now if I'm right about that or wrong, God only knows. You know, science changes, and I am a scientist by background, right? The earth was flat forever. Now it's round. Now people are saying it's flat again. So whatever. But the point is, if I strike a nerve, that means I'm not intentionally trying to hurt somebody, but it means that I am talking about something that is important. Because if it's important enough for you to come on my video and this happened, and a guy calls me a Negro cunt bitch, okay, I've struck a nerve. Great. Now, most people will get distraught. Oh, that's offensive. I wasn't offended. In fact, my first reaction was laughter when I got called. And by the way, forgive me if any of those words offend you. I'm just telling you what someone said. He called me a Negro cunt bitch. I laughed out loud and responded to him like, how long did it take you to come up with that insult? But what I knew was I had said something that was so important that his world crumbled. Great. I didn't want his world to crumble, but I like the fact that I said something that was important enough for you to be angry and yell at me. It's about perspective, right? It's about taking command of your life and not letting the circumstances that happen to you be what determines your reality. You determine your reality. You determine the meaning of life. Luis says, how do you find proper focus for entering the correct career field for yourself? Well, you do it through anything. Like, it's the scientific method. You experiment. And you find some things work, some things don't. When I was a soldier, I found that a lot of being an officer in the military worked. A lot of it I was really good at. Some of it, not so much. Right? So I experimented. And then I went to Fortune 500. Some things really, really worked there. Some other things I realized in Fortune 500, I never need to be an accountant. Not good enough. Like, I'm good enough to do the accounting for my business. But at the end of the year, every year, I turn it over to an accountant that I pay to make sure it's right. Because I'm good enough to maintain it to a certain level, but I know that that's not my skill set. It's never going to be. And me trying to train myself to be an accountant is going to waste a lot of time because it's not my God-given strength. Right? I can get decent at it, but 80-20. Spend 20% on your weaknesses and 80% on your strengths, right? So you experiment, and when something clicks, you stick with it. When something clicks or it works, you double, triple, or quadruple down on it. When something doesn't work, you either discard it completely, like me in school. I was like, this is a waste. Or you do it good enough to not die. Right? I need to be able to do accounting good enough to know how much money I have coming in and how to allocate those funds toward taxes, towards paying my taxes, towards putting money away for the business so we can invest in things later, towards paying myself. I have to be able to do those things. But when it comes to the end of the year, I want somebody who's a professional, who's actually really good at it, to double check my work. That's how you do it. You experiment. Stephanie says, any advice for switching careers or finding a career that's a good fit? So again, the answer is the same. It's experimentation. Depending on how old you are and how much experience you have will determine how you progress. But what you really need to do, everything starts with what I call violent self-awareness. And by the way, for my folks over on the marketing channel, thank you so much for watching. My phone's about to die. There's only one person watching the video at this point. It's been a pleasure to serve all of you. Definitely go take advantage of the Black Friday sale over on my website for the Social Media Ninja Academy. The undergrad program is $1. Once you purchase that, it'll take you to the graduate program, which is 50% off. In the event that you don't have access, or you already have access to the undergrad program and you don't want to give me another $1, no worries. I've just put the link to the graduate level program in the comments here. And once I'm done with this video talking to my other audience here, I will put it in the description as well. As always, remember over here, friends, we are stronger than I love you all very much, and I'll see you soon. Okay, now, for those of you who are here, I'm not leaving, so don't hang up. I just know that this phone is about to die, and we didn't really get too much of an audience on my other channel because I don't use it all that often, which is okay. Now, let's get my other... See, I got my camera stand here. It's not a camera stand, it's a light stand that I have repurposed into a camera stand because, you know, that's how we roll. Efficiency and effectiveness. All right, shut that down. Now, let's get to some of these other questions. So yeah, anything you're going to do in life starts with violent self-awareness. And I don't mean violent like hurting people. I mean violent like intense. And if you're not looking at my 69 Pillars of Success program, do that. Watch the second video. I mean, watch the first one because they're in order for a reason. But the second video is called The 5 Pillars of Self-Awareness. That video, it's about 36 minutes long. That video will walk you through everything you need to know. If you're trying to switch a career, if you're trying to find a mate, if you're trying to start a career, all of the answers that you're looking for are rooted in self-awareness and then come out from that. And when I find that people are bouncing around or feel lost, it's because they're not really self-aware, or if they are self-aware, they're scared to be what God's created them to be because they've been told by parents that what they want to do is not wise, or there's no money in it, or blah, 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 BS. Okay? Peter Cole says, would you recommend staying up later or getting up earlier for productivity? I recommend whatever works for you. Experiment with both, see which one gives you better results, and then the one that gives you better results, do it. Let's see. Stephanie says, I agree. Baby Zone says, I moved to the other channel. Just found it. Sweet. Luis says, thanks, man. My pleasure, Luis. Ellis says, hi, Baby Zone. Baby Zone says, I already moved to the second phone. I was on the other one. Yes, you did. Bryant, can I ask a question about YouTube, or is that out of topic? Nope, nothing on this channel is out of topic. You want to ask me a YouTube question? Fire away, because there's other people here who are YouTubers. I am Peter Cole is actually in my Ninja Academy. He may benefit from whatever question you're going to ask. So no, there are no off-topic questions here. My whole life centers around helping you take command of your life, and if that means you need to understand how to do something on YouTube, fire away. I am Peter Cole says, baby, he always wants any questions regardless of topic. Yeah, and nothing's off the table. You know, I've had people come on my show and say, I hate that you talk about religion or faith, and that's fine. It's cool. You know, I'm not judging anybody for what they believe. Or they want to ask me a question because they don't understand something. I may not always know the answer, but I can at least give you my perspective. Baby Zone says, love you. Love you too, man. Assuming that you're a man, maybe you're a lady. I'm not actually sure. Okay, Baby Zone says, here's my question. I have created this channel, Baby Zone, just as a bet with a friend that I can get 100 subs in 1 week. Okay. And suddenly, I got 1K subs in 3 weeks. Excellent. Very well done. Proud of you. Now my problem is that the name doesn't reflect my content. Okay. Baby Zone was not meant to be gaming. It was just a private channel that I put my videos on. Oh, I put videos of my son. Okay. I like this. I like it when people ask me questions and I get all the context without having to ask for it. This is a great way to ask a question, by the way, friends. Now I want to change the name because everyone is asking why it's Baby Zone. Okay. Oh, and you know what? I am logged in as the wrong channel. Let me get logged in as me now. All right, I'll be right back, friends. Stand by. Let's get logged in as me. No, this thing's being ridiculous. All right. All right, switch to me. Oh, wow. I just got a big bump in subscribers there. Sweet. All right, let's go back. So here's the deal. Here's what I'll say, and this phone may die too, even though it's plugged in. I don't know what the problem is here, but you know, modern technology and all its stupidity. No, that's not going to work. Anyway, so if I lose you guys, just know that I love you, and we'll be back sometime in the future. I'm going to try to salvage my phone here so that it doesn't die on you, but I cannot guarantee that that's going to work. But we're going to try, by God. By God, we're going to try. All right, let's see what we got here. So I'm not ignoring you guys, by the way. I'm just trying to make sure I don't lose. I'm down to 10% on my phone, even though my phone is plugged into my computer. Apparently, it's not getting enough juice to keep up with the stream. So we're going to try this. We're going to try to plug it into the wall. That's how we're going to do this. And now what I can't tell, because YouTube is ridiculous, is if this is actually charging. And if I move away from this, it's going to get ugly. All right, we're just going to have to hope that it's working. We have to hope, Captain. Okay, let's get back to the question. And many of my subs told me they didn't sub directly because Baby Zone doesn't relate to games. The question is, if I change the name, I will disappear. Will I disappear in the YouTube algorithm? My channel has an excellent visibility now. In regards to the topic of mentors, would you recommend a free mentor who's in alignment with your message vision, or someone that you pay to help you? Both. Because a lot of the mentors you're going to want to have are not going to do it for free. But you do want to have free mentors too, because most of my free mentors are people that are actually in my life. And so, you know, but they can't teach me everything, right? But I like having them because they know me way better than like a mentor that I'm paying. But I pay mentors to help me understand how to do certain things better, whether it's marketing or I have a public speaking coach that I pay. Because I don't have any friends hanging around that do public speaking, at least not any more than I do, who can just take time out of their life to coach me. So I would have both. I would definitely have both. So the question is, if I change the name, will I disappear? No, you're not going to disappear in the YouTube algorithm. But the thing I'd submit to you is, people get hung up on names and logos and all that stuff. Like, there's a gamer right now whose name is Boogie2988. The Angry Video Game Nerds YouTube channel is called Cinemassacre. Right? There's a guy named PewDiePie, for God's sake, who's the most popular YouTuber that's ever lived. So the point that I'm making is your name really isn't all that. It's not as important as a lot of other gurus will lead you to. Like, if the name's not right, like here's a name for you: Berkshire Hathaway. Does that sound amazing? Nope. But their shares trade for, last time I checked, somewhere around $25,000 a share. So they're doing all right with a crappy name. I wouldn't worry about it too much. So I would not worry about your name. It's fine. You know, if you want to change the name, sure. It's not going to do anything to you in the algorithm. Like, YouTube's not going to go, oh, you changed your name, that's a wrap. But just know that even if you change the name, you're not going to be able to change the link. The link is going to be the link. So if you look at my marketing channel, it's called Clients Incoming Digital Marketing Strategy, but the link is Alloy 7 TV because that was what the channel was originally called. So just keep that in mind. Let's see. Keith Boyer says, how much do you pay for your public speaking lessons? So I don't take lessons. This is a coach that does seminars several times a year. And it just depends on which seminars I want to go to. There's seminars that I can pay $300 to go to. There's seminars that I can pay up to $20,000 to go to. Right? So it really just depends on what I need in the moment and how in depth or how much time I have to be with him in a group coaching situation. So it's not like someone I'm paying to give me lessons. It's someone that I'm paying to coach me and several other people in a conference setting. So yeah, it just depends on what it is you're trying to get out of the deal. Baby Zone says, cool, thank you very much. You're most welcome, Baby Zone. And by the way, I've been calling you man. Are you a man or a lady or perhaps identify as other? I want to make sure I'm not disrespecting you all. Yes, I am a man. Okay. Not a baby for sure. Sweet. In the Baby Zone. I actually kind of like the name Baby Zone because it makes people like, why is this grown man called Baby Zone? This is ridiculous. But it got somebody's attention. It's a lot more attention grabbing than Clients Incoming, at least for a YouTube TV channel. Luz says, curious, do you know the process if a person, loved one, for example, died in the state they don't live, how to transport the body home? I do not know the process for that at all. I imagine, though, that it's a process that's handled by whoever is handling the funeral, like the funeral home. I imagine they would arrange that because the funeral home that we worked with for my dad was freaking amazing. Like they took care of everything, transporting my dad's body. They took care of literally everything and took such good care of us. And they were at everything. They were at their memorial service. They were at my dad being buried in Arlington National Cemetery. At just the amount of good human you have to be to work in a place like that is just amazing. Belgian Dan says, Clients Incoming isn't a bad name, in my humble opinion. It beats Belgian Dan. So it's not a bad name. It's just not one that's going to spawn any type of curiosity. So I think it's an amazing name for my business and what we do because I'm a military guy, a former military guy. Incoming is what we call artillery. And I'm having clients, almost like clients are being bombed on you. Like you can't keep the clients away. Lou says, awesome. I do. That's what I want my channel to be about. Provide life solutions. Roger that. So yeah, on the topic of having mentors, to do a shameless plug for some of the stuff that I offer, I just want you all to be aware of some of what I give people access to that I'm very, very excited about, and just understand that I obsess over things that I know I'm going to sell, because I want them to be so insanely good that when you get there, you're like, wait a minute. I only, like, and I've had this happen in every program I've launched where someone will tell me, wait a minute, I only paid this much money. Why am I getting all of this? Right? And I'm very particular about that because I just, and it sounds altruistic and like I'm a good person. It's really not. It's selfish. It's, if I can blow you away when you get into a program, whether it's free or paid, you'll be like, well, I'm clearly rolling with this guy for the rest of forever, because if he gives me that for this price, clearly whatever he does in the rest of his life is going to be amazing. So I want you to be aware we have the 69 pillars of success. That's ongoing. I actually am probably tonight, after I get off camera with you all, am gonna film another one of the pillars for that. We have the 25 Cognitive Biases series, which not a lot of people are watching that on this channel. I really encourage you to watch that, because it's gonna help you understand the way your mind works, and why, beyond Myers-Briggs and all this other stuff, just how our minds are literally wired to work against us, and how we can get away from that. I'm going to be doing the logical fallacies, which is in the same vein. Hardcore life hacks, experiences from being a combat leader that I'm going to repurpose them for real life. That's, by the way, a lot of what my podcast is about, is taking life lessons from being a business owner and running other people's businesses, and being a combat leader, and then condensing that into something you can apply to whatever you're doing, whether you're trying to build a business or be the world's best tennis player. Definitely subscribe to my podcast. And if you all would be so kind, it would mean the world to me if you listen to my podcast on iTunes or Google Play Store or Anchor, if you would star it and leave a review. And I don't care if you 1-star. If you're like, yo, this dude is boring, 1-star. Like, every little bit helps. Because Apple cares about those things. And I really want more people to hear my podcast, because honestly, that's where I'm at my best. I make pretty good videos because I'm a slightly compelling person, but I'm really good with audio. That's kind of where I think I will land in terms of where a lot of my notoriety will come from, will be from our podcast / radio show / experience. So definitely get a hold of that. Those of you who've been asking me to keep up with my books, it's all about Instagram. I do my book of the day post. This was today's book of the day. It looked a lot prettier than what and I do some doctoring to my pictures to make them look pretty, because Instagram likes that. So definitely get at me there. One program I want to tell you about specifically before we're done tonight, and I'm still going to open it up for questions, so this doesn't necessarily have to be the end of our conversation, but before we get too far gone, I would like to hip you to something. I'm going to type a link here. I have a lot of people hit me up, especially on Facebook, and ask, I love your videos, I love what you're doing, you're inspirational and motivational. Can you coach me one-on-one? And you can't imagine how many people I've had to tell, no, I really can't, because it's going to take me 8 hours just to get you off the ground and headed in the right direction. And I don't have 8 hours to dedicate to all of you. And then and they're like, well, we'll pay you for it. I'm like, yeah, but for that to be viable for me, I would need to charge you at least $5,000, just to be out of respect to my family and the amount of time I have to dedicate to this. And most people are like, well, I don't have that much money laying around. Some people do. You know, I do have clients that can handle that, but everybody can't. And a lot of people are on YouTube getting information because they don't have thousands of dollars sitting around to pay somebody. So what I figured out, I sat down, did some brainstorming with my wife. We mapped out what we were going to do in business for the rest of this year and going into next year. And it was, why don't we build a coaching program that we can make cheaper, but coach in groups, so that we can make it 10 times less expensive, but give 10 times more value. And you can coach multiple people at the same time. And the beauty of that is, most people's problems aren't really all that different. They have a different flavor or a different label, but they're usually rooted in the same patterns of thinking and patterns of behavior, right? So I created a group coaching program. We launched the pilot last month, and we are into, tomorrow will be our 3rd week of coaching in a 4-week really crash course. I mean, it's like a college course, for God's sake, of me walking people through. I mean, think about, I want you to imagine for a second, you've come to me, a lot of your questions center around, I don't know what to do with my life, I feel lost. Imagine you came to me feeling lost, and then I helped you. I didn't give it to you, but I showed you what you needed to do to build your own roadmap to success. I showed you what that looked like. I helped you define what that is. And then I give you tools and training, and I give you coaching, but then I give you practical exercises. You can't imagine how much homework is in the first 3 weeks of this program. Because there's really a week 0 where I make you do a bunch of homework before you ever show up to the first coaching call. It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of work that's going to help you get focused on the things that are going to help you win. So imagine after the week 0 and week 1, now you understand, at least to some degree, oh, I know what I should be doing now. And then we spend the rest of the weeks helping you get out of your own way and then giving you the tools to actually go and get that done. The confidence, the competence, right? The process, how to focus, how to stop being all over the place, right? And get focused on the things that really matter. How to combat the insecurities that perhaps your parents gave you and now you're afraid to be an artist. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to actually be an artist. Now, it's not going to be easy and you're going to have to eat some ramen maybe, but giving you the confidence to murder the fear that's kept you from it, and then giving you the tools and the knowledge to actually go out and start making it happen, and then putting it into play. Then, on top of that, you get a Facebook group that you have lifetime access to ask questions of me and the rest of the groups forever. You have access to the coaching calls because I record them and then upload them into a private website where only you have access to it, where you can go through and watch everything that we coached you on for the rest of eternity or until the internet stops being a thing. Then, as I coach new sessions with new people, you get to see their sessions too. Right? So the people who really get the most bang for the buck are the people who got in first, because then they get to watch everybody else go through the program and listen to how we solved other people's problems. So truth be told, you're getting 8 hours with me, but then you're getting another 8 hours with another group and another 8 hours, and you can consume that content and go through the practical exercises. We have you build what I call, I don't think I have mine down here, an I Love Me book, where you take all the worksheets that I give you, you punch holes in them, you put them in a book so you can go back and revisit it. But you've got lifetime access to the Facebook group. You can ask questions. I'm always there. I don't always answer right away, but I try to get it there as fast as I can, to where we're not going to figure out everything in 8 hours, and usually it goes a little longer than 8 hours because people ask questions and I give Q&A time. But then you get to ask, as you go through everything we've applied, you can ask questions after the fact. I'm thinking about adding a VIP program to it, similar to what I have with the Social Media Ninja Academy. Everyone here that's in my VIP group for the Social Media Ninja Academy can attest to the fact that we put in a lot of hours of dedication into helping you accomplish whatever it is you're trying to do. So I haven't decided if I'm going to do that kind of Netflix VIP thing yet, because that's another several hours I'll have to dedicate a month to coaching, but we'll see. But it's something that I want you all to consider. Right now, we have registration open for, we're not going to do a session in December. This session will end on December 2nd, and then I'm going to take that month off and start fresh in January. So registration is open for the January session. I've already got a number of people who have committed to being in it. We're only letting 15 people in at a time because I can't coach virtually a room of hundreds of people and do it effectively. So we're letting 15 people in at a time. Right now, we do not have any future sessions scheduled. We only have the session that's starting, I believe, January 7th. So if that's something you're interested in, all these benefits that I'm talking about. And by the way, you get access to the 69 pillars. You get discounts and all the others. So if you're interested in getting coaching and you wanted to get into the like the YouTube graduate program, then you would get a discount on that. Lifetime discount. Like, it doesn't ever expire. And any other programs that I launch, I always give discounts to people who have bought other programs, because I think that's how you treat people. All right. So if you're interested, a lot of you have been talking about, I wish you could coach me. I wish you could coach me. Now is your opportunity to take advantage of that. And I would tell you not to drag your feet, because I literally have friends from high school who have figured out about this, who are signing up for it. Like, yo, you're coaching? I'm in. Like, people I haven't talked to in 15 years called me on the phone like, hey, I want into this program when you launch it. People that I used to work with in the professional sector, like, yo, I'm getting ready to retire. I need coaching, right? So don't drag your feet. I know it's not the cheapest thing in the world, but I guarantee you it's more expensive to not have someone take you on the journey to where you're trying to go versus trying to figure it all out yourself, or just watching more INFP personality type videos when you don't have somebody walking you through your specific situation. And that's why I've been such a stickler with the personality type videos lately, is I don't want you to take what I'm talking about as blanket truth for everybody. It may not be true for you. The advice that I would give to you may be very different than the advice I'd give to someone else, depending on the circumstances, depending on your life, your personality, and your temperament. So if those benefits sound like a good idea, by the way, they really are. And in the first week I had someone tell me, wow, I feel like I didn't pay enough for this program. I'm like, that's the way, like, that is the response I want people to have, is I probably should have paid you more for this and I feel guilty. Good, because then I can guilt you into doing other things with me in the future. Like I said, it's not all selfless and altruistic. Some of it is selfishly motivated, but in a good way that benefits you. Now, Keith Boyer says, I want to become an inspirational person, such as yourself and many others that I've viewed on YouTube and Facebook. A large mental roadblock of mine is many people I'm associated with just seemingly do not care. I also have a problem of deciding upon a topic to start talking about on videos. My questions are, 1, how would you recommend finding the right audience who wants to see your content? And 2, how should I go about deciding what to make videos about? So I would go watch my 5 pillars. Oh, by the way, the 5 pillars of self-awareness video that's free in the 69 Pillars program, I coach on it in the coaching program. I walk you through how to use those 5 pillars, and then you have homework, and then we come back the next week and we do a complete individual deep dive into your personality, into your motivations, into your core values, into your skills, and into your passions. That's where I would start. All of what you're trying to do starts with self-awareness. Everybody, every human on this world has the capacity to be inspirational. It's just you have to tell your story. You can't try to be someone else. I can't be Tony Robbins, right? I can't be Billy Graham or Dave Chappelle. I have to be me. I have to tell my story. And what people fall into the trap of is trying to copy someone else's story and just using the content. Don't worry about, what type of audience do I need to reach out to? Start with, what do you actually want to help people with? And the best place to start there is find a mess that's in your life that you figure out how to beat. And then you turn your mess into your message. All right, what's next? Lou says, good questions, Keith. That's great questions. Baby Zone says, coaching 8.7K people. Not logic. Who asked that? Good idea, coaching in a group. You can learn from others. And that's the other thing, too, is you learn from the other people in the group as well. And you learn by when they ask questions. And I just answered Keith Boyer's question, right? This is a perfect example of what would happen in a coaching situation. That answer is going to help other people who have similar questions, but in a different way. And by the way, in the coaching program, it's not me talking like this, where I'm talking and you all are commenting. It's us literally on a conference call, talking to one another and asking each other questions. All right. Back in your early days, did you end up paying for mentorship coaching session during your first year when you only made $50? When I only made 50. Are you being figurative? Like, is that a rhetorical question? I don't think I've only made $50 a day in my life. In my early days, did I end up paying for mentorship? So I guess it depends on how early we're talking about. But take the military, for example. I did not give them money, but I certainly gave them my time. So yeah, I paid for that education. I paid for that education with blood and PTSD, right? So paying is not just about money. Sometimes it's about equal exchange. So, like, for example, I have given people access to my program who have helped me with things in my business. I just gave it to them. Like, here you go. But yeah, you pay. You're going to pay one way or the other. Some people I don't have to pay, but that's usually friends of the family who care about me. All right? Let's see. Keith says, yeah, I'm presently in the middle of the 3rd video in that series. Thank you very much. Thank you. Very informative. Awesome. Keith Boyer says, that's why you mentioned in one of your 69 Pillars video, when you started with online videos, you claimed you profited only $50. Oh, when I first started my business, my first year in business, yes, I made $50, but I wasn't doing online video back then. My business, like the YouTube and all the social media stuff, is new. Like, my business was actually building online presences for clients, building their websites, building their communities, running their communities, helping them sell merchandise. That's what I've always been involved in. And then I kind of evolved into the YouTube presence. When I made $50, that wasn't my only income. Like, I was also working in Fortune 500 at the time. I started my business kind of as a hobby at that point, and just to see what I could do with it. And I knew I wanted to be in business for myself. And by the way, if I could go back, because that was around 2005, if I could go back to that time, I would pay 3 of the mentors I have now, I would have paid them back then, and I'd probably be making 8 figures right now, because they would have taught me things that took me 10 years to figure out because I did it all on my own. And that's what I'm talking about. Like, a mentor is not going to give you a silver bullet or a magic pill. What a mentor is going to do is help you cut down the time it takes you to figure stuff out, because we've been where you're trying to go. Right? So what you're paying for, honestly, is not all of the coaching. You're paying for time. And I don't mean you're paying for my time. You are paying to save. Like, when I go to a client, one of the things I always tell them about social media marketing, and I'm honest with them, is I could teach you all of this. If you gave me 8 hours and $5,000, I could teach you how to do everything that I'm going to do for you. But that's not your problem. Your problem is you're the CEO of your company and you need to be focused on something else. You're better off just paying me to focus on this for you. So what I'm selling you is your time back. I'm not selling you, I mean, yeah, I'm going to get you more customers. I'm going to help you make more money. That's important. But what I'm really, because you could do it if you just worked more hours. What I'm selling you is you get to go home and be with your daughter while I take care of this other stuff and you don't have to worry about it. So with coaches, you are paying to save yourself time. Like with the Social Media Ninja Academy, I built that to save creators from going through what I went through for a year, trying to figure out what is wrong with these freaking people that they're not watching these amazing videos. And it's like, well, Mr. Chambers, they're not watching them because you're not playing by the rules of the system. And you have to figure out how to you have to figure out how to be empathetic to your audience and give them what they're looking for, the way they're looking for it, not the way you're trying to deliver it. Right? So if I would have had a Tim Schmoyer back in 2007, when I actually first started on YouTube, I probably would have millions of subscribers. Cool. Any other questions? Any questions about the coaching program? Because I imagine some of you are very interested in it at this point. What are your questions about the program? What would you say is preventing you from wanting to get that type of help? If anything is preventing you, or have some of you already bought it and I just haven't been looking at my sales page here. Awesome. Uh-oh, a bunch of people liked an Instagram photo. Let's see which one it is. So yeah, let me know what your questions or your concerns are about the coaching program or anything else that you have for me. Okay, Lou says, what's the difference between the two? The two what? What did I say? The two what? Keith Boyer says, I definitely agree that paying to shorten your learning curve is worth it. I have the fear when the subject comes up. That's something along the lines of, would someone else provide more relative information at their current asking price? I don't make much money, and I worry about wasting time considering the usual fees of around $300 to $500 or so. How much does it cost? So the coaching program, it depends. So if you are a United States citizen and you're not in any of my other programs, it is, I believe it's $497. If you're in my VIP program with my Ninja Academy, it's $100 cheaper. And if you're in Canada or Europe, it starts off $100 cheaper. And then if you're a VIP, so it goes $497, $397, and then in Canada and Europe, it's $397 or $297. And by the way, so I posted the link here. You guys can see all of that. All that information is better explained on the website. And for those of you who are interested in my social media coaching, that is usually $997 for the whole program, but it's on sale for $497. It's half price today. So here was my, by the way, here's my Instagram book of the day. It doesn't look as beautiful on camera as it does in person. I'm really proud of this photo. I feel like I did a good job with it, because I am by no means a photographer. Hey, Luce followed me on Instagram. Let me follow her back. Awesome. And Ella's Edge, is that Ella Wilson? Is that you that I want to make sure I'm following all of y'all back. So Stephanie says, how much does it cost? So yeah, the personal coaching program is $497 or $397 or $297, depending on where you live and what other programs you're in. Luce, the VIP program is associated right now just with the media, the social media academy. When you go through the process of purchasing it, you'll purchase the undergrad, and then it'll ask you if you want to upgrade to the graduate program. And then once you upgrade to the graduate program, it will then ask you if you want to become a VIP. Now, if you are already in, and forgive me if I missed this, Luce, you may already be in my program. If you just need to get into the VIP and you're already in the undergrad or the graduate program, because you have to be in one of them to get access to the VIP. If you just need to get access to the VIP, let me know offline, and I will send you a link to that to where you can get it set up. Stephanie says, thank you. You're most welcome. Okay, Ella's Edge is Ella Wilson. Cool. Keith Bory says, I have a thought. Keith says, have you considered a type of percentage of sale procedure for coaching others? What I mean by that is similar to a massive initial reduction in cost of services to provide the same expected content, except you charge for a limited time. So basically, what you're saying is you want me to coach you, and then you're going to make a bunch of money on something, and then I get a percentage of whatever you sell. I wouldn't do that with a personal coaching program because that's very arbitrary. The only places where I would actually apply something like that is if I were working with a business that's already making money, and they were like, we want to bring you in to consult us on how to make more money, but we don't want to pay you on like a monthly retainer. And then basically it's like, okay, then you can pay me my monthly retainer based upon a percentage of how much I increase your sales. That's about the only environment that I would do that in. And that would have to be a very specific deal where we have very well-defined KPIs or key performance indicators and thresholds that we have to meet. I need to understand their business and know that it's something I can help them scale. There'd be a lot of complications into something like that. But like just coaching people, that would be unwise for me because if I don't know what they're doing, like if they're working at Pizza Hut, they're not going to give me a percentage of their income doing that. Nor would I want to take a percentage of their Pizza Hut income because I know Pizza Hut ain't paying anybody that well. Let's see. Keith said, okay, we got that part. Ella says, will going through the 69 pillars help us determine which course to take? Yes. Or are you saying going through the 69 pillars help you decide which one of my courses to take? Probably not. Which course you should take is really dependent upon, first of all, the personal coaching program everybody should take, regardless of what you're trying to do, because it's going to help you do all of that. Think of that as a foundational course that's going to be a platform for you to, jump into all the other things you're trying to do in life. Social media course you only need if you're trying to build a YouTube. Like if you're trying to build your brand on YouTube, or you're trying to build a YouTube channel to a certain size where you can do affiliate marketing and selling other people's products and stuff like that. Keith says, the reason why I expect this to be effective would be because those who are in a tight position, such as I, would be granted the opportunity to begin their dreams or desires. So what I would tell you, if you don't have, and this goes for any coach, this isn't just me. If your major objection, and I'm going to teach you something about sales here. This is so everybody who wants to be in sales, pay attention. If somebody's major objection to me is I don't have the money to get into your program, what they're really saying, and this would go for Keith as well, what they're really saying, and you need to understand this, is I don't trust you. Because if you had an incurable disease and I walked up to you and I said, well, for $497, I have the cure, and and I have it, and you knew it was going to work, then you would beg, borrow, steal, rob a car. Like if you knew you were going to die, and I agree, this is an extreme example, but it's to illustrate the point, okay? You would do whatever it took to get you to getting the money that you need. What you're really saying when you say I don't have the money is, and maybe you don't physically have it right now, but there are ways you could go out and get it if you truly believed that the program was going to help you. And what I usually tell people in that situation is I wouldn't join a program that I don't fully trust. Like if I'm trying to figure out a way to finagle it to be cheaper, it's because I don't trust it. Like I wouldn't go to GameStop and say, well, can I have the PlayStation and like give you a percentage of my income because I can't afford it? And they'd be like, no, come back when you have the money to buy the PlayStation. But if I wanted that, like if I knew, like the reason why I'm trying to finagle them is because I don't really trust that I'm going to get the $3.99 out of this box that I'm buying. But if I knew that the box was going to deliver on the promise without any shadow of a doubt, I would find a way to get the money. So what I would say to you in that case, I'm not just going to give you the philosophy. And one of the things I really focus on in coaching is not just giving you the philosophy, but like when I tell people how to reframe the world and change their mindset, I actually walk them through how do I change my mindset to be from a negative to a positive person so that I can be successful. My suggestion to you is with what money you do have, go buy every book you can get that's on the subject that you want to be developed in. Read everything that you can get at. And by the way, if you don't have money to buy books, go to the library. I have a library card. I check out books all the time. Well, at least I used to. Now I buy them all. But I've checked out books if I couldn't afford them, right? Watch every free program that you can get your hands on. Spend less time consuming stuff that's not helping you. And so what you need to invest right now is your time. If you don't have money, then invest time. Because at the end of the day, if I could somehow guarantee you that all your wildest dreams are going to come true at the end of this course, you'd go borrow the money. And I've done that. Like I've been in financial situations where I had no choice. It's like you either come up with $10,000, homie, or we're coming to get your house. And that happened to me. I figured out a way to get the money because I had to get out of the situation. So it's what I want to help you remove is something we talk about in the program, which is limiting beliefs. Where it's like, oh, I don't really have it. Can I kind of cut a deal? Like, no, we're not going to cut a deal. Go do the things you need to do to get out of your situation so you can buy any course you want to buy. I tell my son this all the time. Like, stop spending your money on short-term gains. Stop being short-sighted. Go save your money and work. And you work hard, you work smart. Eventually, you'll have enough money to buy whatever you want. Let's see. Keith says, I see your perspective. Excellent. And so, yeah, I'm not trying to tear you down at all, brother. I really hope that's encouraging to you. Watch the 69 Pillars. Watch the Cognitive Biases. Watch Tony Robbins. Like make it a point in 2018, I'm not going to watch any Game of Thrones or any other crap. I'm just going to train on all the free access that I have. Because the 69 Pillars is a means of coaching you. The difference is you don't have me talking to you and walking you through your specific situation. But you can start to apply those principles, and I guarantee you as you go through it, you will start to see improvement. And by the way, in every program that I do, if for whatever reason you get through it and it ain't working for you, we always have a 30-day money-back guarantee. So there's really no chance for you to lose. Let's see. Luz says, I already signed up for $4.97. You signed up for the personal coaching, or you are in the, I think you're in the Social Media Ninja Academy, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, my lady. Shane says, I'm in a unique situation. I'm separate, paying a lot of bills, and recently got overactive. You got the thyroid, okay? So I really don't have a lot of motivation. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying your advice. So here's the deal. Nobody's problem is motivation. It's like when people say, I want to go work out, but I'm lazy. You're not lazy. You just don't want something bad enough to get your butt out of the bed. Now, I get it. If you have biological issues that are causing you to be drained, I'm not going to minimize that. But I'm telling you right now, if you walk outside tonight and a bear walks up to you and says, if you don't run down the street top speed, he's talking. The bear that I'm talking about can speak English. I'm going to eat you and your family. You'll run down the street top speed. And this is what I used to tell my friends that don't work out. Like, your problem isn't laziness. You don't have something in your life. You don't have a goal that's big enough to get your big ass out of the bed. So get a goal. Like, want something. Like, I've always told people on earth, one of the biggest problems you have is not that you want too much, it's that you want too little. Your expectations are too low. And we've been trained that, well, I just keep my expectations low. That way I'm never disappointed. And you're never happy either. Like, who does that? Like, I just never expect. Now, there is some wisdom to when I do something good for someone, like in a business. I just gave probably 10 businesses today free consultation. Free, right? Like, not 8 hours worth of free consultation, but stuff that can help them make more money if they never call me. I don't expect one of them to call me. But here's what's interesting. At least one of them will. At least one of them will hit me back and say, hey, thanks for this. Can we talk? I'd like to get you to help me. But I don't go into it expecting that they're all going to call me and I deserve to have them call me. But I do expect that somewhere down the road, someone's going to call me because I did good for someone else. Maybe not the person I did it for, but maybe the person I did it for has a billionaire friend that actually needs my help. And they're like, you know, this kid sent me this proposal, or he sent me an audit for my website that really helped me understand what I was doing wrong. And I applied it. I never called him back. You should probably call him because you're a billionaire. You don't have time. You know, that could lead to a deal where I'm making $100,000 a month, right? And then, you know, that's what I'm saying. And it's not that you don't have, it's not that you're lazy. It's that you don't want something bigger than the challenges you're facing, right? And I'm telling you, if that bear walks up to you, and I love the bear. I love him because it's called the gift of desperation. When your back is against the wall, when they hit me up, they're like, listen, this is what's going to happen. Either you come up with $10,000 or we're taking your house, selling it, and your credit's going to be wrecked. That bear was, and that was the bear. He's like, hey, Slim, a bear walked up to my house like, hey, buddy, listen, I'm going to eat you and your family, and you better come up with $10,000. Otherwise, we're taking the house. You're going to be living outside, and your credit's going to be wrecked. I came up with $10,000 in less than 8 days because when you have to, you do. Okay. So yeah, don't allow the problems you face to become the crutch. You know, I popped my Achilles tendon. Could have totally have used that as an excuse never to run again because I hate running. Nope. I did other things until I healed properly, and now I'm back at it. Right. Nigel says, to add on, even if someone did trust it, they may value other things more to spend their money on. Exactly. So when they say I don't have money, what they're saying is either I don't trust it or I don't have money for that. Because I can't tell you how many people who have told me, man, I really want to get into your YouTube program because I've seen people like my friend Charles come into your program with like 400 subscribers.